we're going to do the next scariest thing, which is a redesign. And I can't tell you how scary it is designing a new UI for Figma for designers. I also can't tell you how meta it is to be designing a new Figma editor inside of the old Figma editor. So a shout out to our very brave and very talented design team. It's been very inspiring to see us work on this. Now, before we continue and I show you some cool stuff, I want to recognize that a redesign can take some getting used to. So we're going to roll this out slowly, and we're going to stay close to your feedback. We're going to incorporate it and improve it. You'll be able to switch back and forth for a while we improve this. And yes, eventually, we're going to turn off the old UI. So with that, let's take a look at UI 3, our redesigned interface. OK, so here I am in Figma. And you can see here that you have a brand new, shiny interface. You can see that you still have a lot of the same structure you're used to. We have our layers and some pages on the left. And you've got your properties on the right, but the toolbar has dropped to the bottom. And what we want, our intention here is to really bring your content to the front and center of the experience in Figma. And we want to help you stay in flow state as much as possible. For example, when someone requests a spotlight, nope, sorry, bud. So when Raji's requested the spotlight, you'll notice that the UI has just kind of hidden away. And with that, as the UI is hidden, it makes it so that I'm able to get a little distracted by our friends online. As that happens, I am able to really keep in flow state and watch the designs go by. So if I want to stop following Raji now, you can see that I can really easily still collapse that state. But if I want to now bring the properties panel back, I can click here. And as I do that, you'll see that my properties panel comes right back up. And I'm sure someone backstage can restrict the access to this file. I'm going to refresh it just in case that matters. Can't keep up. All right. So as I go, you'll see that I can I'm getting my properties panel on the right-hand side here. And with that, we're prioritizing the things that you're used to on the top right when I select a frame. However, if I select a component, you'll notice that we prioritize the component props and variables. Now, some other things to note are that I can also resize this panel. We've also done some things like we've clustered the X and the Y here with position, and width and height with auto layout for a simpler IA. And things that are relevant to selection are on the right-hand side as well. So I can mark this as ready for dev, or I can do some Boolean operations as well right there. So overall, we've tried to really clean this up. And yeah, quite excited for you to see everything that we've done with this redesign. All right, well, we're going to keep going through this redesign, and I'm going to show you quite a bit more throughout today. But first, I want to show you some stuff about auto layout. So with auto layout here, you can see that I've got this frame. And as I move this frame around, you can see that it's not resizing, so there's no auto layout yet. Now, if I add in auto layout, so I'm going to click this button to use auto layout. As I do, oops, anyone had this happen before? Maybe instead, if I have auto layout with a down, nope. So what you really need to do to make this work is for auto layout to function properly here, you need to have nested frames, which is actually quite an advanced concept and thing to figure out how to structure in your head. And so today what we're doing is making it so it's a bit easier to get into auto layout by making something called suggest auto layout. If I press this, you'll see that I get all the frames that I need. And on the right-hand side here, we've got a stack of cards that are all inheriting from this component. If I drag this in, then what you'll see is as I resize here, it'll automatically snap to fill. And we also recognize that sometimes you might not want auto layout in the first place. And for example, if I drag these buttons in, I might drag them in here, expecting them to just plop in with absolute positioning. But instead, I'm getting them in a vertical stack. That's not what I want. Now, today, when you drag in Figma, if you then hit Control, you can just position those buttons. OK, so here's a bit of a bigger example. We have this tablet design here, also complex, also would be messed up if I just applied auto layout. Let's see what happens when I click Suggest Auto Layout. So it just automatically figured it out, and it worked. I will say, though, that while this example does work, the larger your example is, the more unlikely Suggest Auto Layout is to work. So the smaller it is, the more likely it will just function properly. But I hope this makes it a lot easier to engage with auto layout and to start getting structured with your designs. Oops. All right. As part of our usability efforts, we've also thought ahead about how to make it easier to get started in Figma. And we've been working with our friends at Apple and Google to bring you the latest iOS 18 and Material 3 kits right inside of Figma. So you can see here, we've given our assets panel a bit of an overhaul, too, as part of this redesign. And if I click into one of these kits, you can see that it's really nicely sorted. And I can also search within the kit for what I want. Now, let's say I go to buttons, I can find what I need, and I can just plop it right in. We've also made a Figma simple design system to show you as well. So let's try to click this bottom tab and go into dev mode. Or sorry, first, actually, before we do that even, let's see what happens when we change our theming using variables and modes. So if I click here and switch to dark mode, you'll see that all that automatically works. For Material 3, I can switch from auto light theme to dark high contrast. And the simple design system for Figma, we can also do this for going from responsive mobile to tablet. Now, if I switch over to dev mode, like I promised you earlier, and I'll make this a tad smaller, I can click on this tab bar here, and you'll see I automatically, through Code Connect, get the Swift UI code I need. I'll also get the compose code I need, and in the case of the simple design system from Figma, the React code that I need as well. The code has already been written for all of these components, which makes it even easier to go from design to production. All right. Next up, cool. Not fixed quite yet. We hope these kits will help Figma be easier than ever to use and design and build with. And of course, extra special thanks to our friends at Apple and Google for working with us on this. OK. So to quickly recap, you've seen a redesigned UI. We've introduced Suggest Auto Layout, and also UI kits in Figma. But there's more we can simplify beyond the editor. And in particular, we know that we need to focus on billing and sharing workflows. So I want to speak about that briefly. We build Figma for different personas: freelancers, small agencies, startups, large enterprises, and more. And our focus has been on making it really easy for product teams to collaborate within an organization, historically. That means that we've had a bit of a gap. And for freelancers and agencies working with external clients, we definitely have gaps such as extra costs when adding external collaborators to your team, and more as well. And today I want to share with you some of our plans for how we plan to start addressing and closing some of these gaps. This will all happen over time. So we always are a little bit nervous when we introduce and talk about things that are very forward-looking. But I also want to be a bit more open about this roadmap because I think it's very important. So first thing is, we're focused on connecting your workspaces. The working name for this is Figma Connect. We also do have Code Connect. And given that that might change as a name in the future, but you can think of it as sort of like Slack Connect, which is why we have the Connect in the name. Figma Connect will let you work with external clients in a new shared workspace using your existing Figma seats. And we hope to launch this in early 2025. Second, we want to solve for the transfer of projects from agencies to clients. We believe there's a number of ways to improve this workflow. And our goal is to ship some of these improvements in the coming months. So much more to come here as well. Finally, we want to bring more clarity and control to billing. And this is something that's going to be a top priority of ours over the next 6 to 12 months, I suspect. Recently, we improved this with 2 new features. So I want to reshare them here and make sure that everyone is aware of them. First, you can increase the cadence of notifications from editor upgrades if you'd like on your team. And second, you have the choice to require admin approval for each editor upgrade as well. So if you prefer the current frictionless collaboration of Figma, you can leave it just the way it is. But if you want to have a manual upgrade approval, you can also set that up too, giving you the control and the flexibility that you need as that admin. It's just a start, and I'm looking forward to sharing much more with you about our billing strategy in the coming months ahead.